how to use AI as a tool and not just send out AI produced content. I mean, unless you guys feel like that's the move, I feel like we're not quite there yet, but how do you take that as a baseline and then add that expertise, add that human element to the content provided to produce a great result?
Yeah, so I just go off kind of what you said. Yeah, there's not really an AI button to press and it just solves all your content problems for you. As beautiful as that would be, it's not there yet. AI right now, probably the biggest kind of limitations that it has, and even like companies like ChatGPT's OpenAI like disclose it on ChatGPT. It's like they can't guarantee factual accuracy. They just simply cannot, and they can't guarantee that some of it isn't plagiarized, possibly. And they're trained on data that already exists. So these AI models, they can't really create novel ideas or like innovative ideas. They have to be given that sort of concept by somebody else to then expand upon and write upon. And that's because, they're trained on a set of information that's given to them. And then the generative process, it actually generates what it thinks you want to see. But it's based on a lot of things like, oh, this is probably what the person wants based on their prompt. And it may not have the ability to say like, yes, this is 100% the accurate answer. Like I remember there was a story recently where a law firm used ChatGPT to write case briefs, and ChatGPT did what's called with AI hallucinating. And what it did was it created these fake case precedents, then put in the case brief copy. The law firm didn't check it, handed it into the court, and the judge was like, what are all of these cases? These don't exist. And the law firm had some issues because of it, because they didn't double check that ChatGPT made up case precedents.
So you can't ChatGPT the bar or your medical exams.
Not quite, no.
That's a good identifier of the limitations. How do you then take, though, the content that does have that limitations and then use that as a baseline to produce something that would be as good, hopefully, if not better, than something that you would have just started from scratch?
You need to know, first off, what you're trying to present. So it's facts in and then, data out. So number one, you need to know, am I writing the right thing for the right client, what have you? Each one of the search engines have their own spam policies, and the content that's being output needs to reach, the broad users, to have all of the correct intent and to make sure it's not spammy or, it just sounds like it's not natural. So you have to go in there, and adding one sentence to any type of AI to script it is going to give you bad results. So you have to sit there and put the data in to really define those patterns for AI to push out good content. It starts from what you give it.
I think that makes total sense. It's about working the tool. It's a tool like anything else. It is, I think, something I've heard you guys say, it is a supplement, not a substitute. So it's how you use the tool, and that makes all the sense in the world. So the best content writers are going to be the best people at aggregating the data for the input and then finessing the output to have that tone that they're there to have, because I've seen GPT get better and better with replicating tone. I think the human element, though, is just still so important.
You can put 3 people into a room with various life differences and different amounts of training in search engine optimization, copywriting, what have you, and you can ask AI for the same question and expect different results based on the input that comes in. And it's a skill. Like you said, input in, input out. The way that things need to be working is you have to make sure that you're giving the AI the right information. And if you don't give them the right information, that skill has to grow on your side. This is not a press a button. No AI button yet. I do not think there will ever be, and maybe an AI button would be date.
No doubt. I think one thing I know that our CEO, Tim, always says is begin with the end in mind. Yeah. So I think you can't just go to these tools and say, article, please. Like, you have to give it the input to get the desired output and then put that final touch on that to have an article you're happy to put your name on.
And this is also a benefit. So one of the things that I had from a department and from a department management standpoint is I have someone working on company A month in, month out. They're embedded. They're invested in that work that needs to be going, into that client. Who would be better to get those needs from the client? The individual that's working on this or the individual that's copywriting 15 different articles in a month? I think the input is just as good from someone who doesn't know how to write but knows the client, knows the industry, than someone who's like, okay, let me do a car, let me do a mortgage, let me do insurers, and push that out.
I think that speaks to how we've built our business here at Conduit. Is we have a team of analysts on this side of the office that are great at strategy, great at data analyzation, maybe not the best account communicators. That's why we have an account management division over there as well. So if ChatGPT, Jasper, any of these tools can act as the communicator for the analyst, so you don't have to outsource to less experienced or expert people on that specific account. You can just have the writer, like your writing assistant right there. I think that's a great observation.
Yeah, and that definitely comes back to the importance, kind of what we were talking about just a little bit ago, is the quality of your input matters almost more than anything else. 9 times out of 10, I've found with experimenting with AI tools, if you're not getting the result that you want and consistently not getting the result that you want, really the first place you should look to find a solution to the problem is your input. You should go back and look at the prompt that you gave it. Is it possibly too complicated? Is it too simple? Am I missing a key piece of information? Maybe I need to take a paragraph from the client's about page on their website and drop it in with the prompt to say, for reference, this is what I'm talking about. There's a lot of different ways that you can go about it, but really the prompt is super, super important. If it's incomplete, you're going to expect an incomplete response.
Yeah, and that comes with experience and trial and error too. I got different outputs when I asked the tool to summarize, to analyze, and to recommend off of this. And these may be synonyms in terms of what we're looking at. It resulted in different outputs. So I think there's more experience that you can get with the tool to get your desired output.
And it's not just throw another reference out there. It's not just with specific to content. Midjourney, which is the visual equivalent of AI copywriting. If you put in a 3-sentence input of a design that you want, and then you put a paragraph descriptive of what you want the image to be, the results are night and day. A small image as opposed to something that looks like it is an exact photo reference from a big budget movie that, cost millions of dollars to